sort of a little bit about me. I'm actually from Massachusetts, or I consider myself from Massachusetts. I spent my grade school in North Andover, then I came back for college. I actually went to Abson College. I don't know if you've heard of it, but it's a business school. And I graduated in 2008, quickly found out that no one was hiring. No one was hiring econ/finance people, unfortunately. So actually, I was fortunate to get a job, but a really low-paid job, unfortunately. And then I figured out that I kind of wanted to make money. I kind of wanted to eat, have some dinner maybe. So I taught myself how to code about 3.5 years ago. And so now I'm actually a software engineer at Spotify. I've been with them for almost 2 years. Actually, when I came here, I don't know if you saw like the signage, electric like signage within the conference center. It says like "How to Talk in Boston." Anyone see that? Yeah. So my swim coach in college, he had a horrible good Boston accent, maybe. He would add R's to the end of everyone's name, like Erica would be like Ericer, Samantha would be Samantha, Lynn would be Linner. Not really. But anyways, so backend engineer at Spotify. I'm based in San Francisco. I'm also a board member of the Python Software Foundation, which might change tomorrow since elections are wrapping up. And sorry, I'm not going to drink that water anymore. And I also founded PyLadies of San Francisco, and I'm sort of like one of the main leaders of the global organization of PyLadies. And since I have the stage, because why not, I wanted to talk a little bit quickly about PyLadies. Has anyone heard of PyLadies? You've got a few hands. All right, that's really awesome. So if you don't know what PyLadies is, it's a mentorship group for women in the Python community. For women and friends, it's open to everyone. And so we're loosely a collection of meetup groups. We host like workshops, study groups, hack nights, speaker events, coffee meetups, maybe even drink-ups or something like that. We welcome all experience levels and all interests in Python, whether you're a noob or advanced, whether you're studying, whether you're in data science, web development, whatever. We have over 70 locations, every continent except Antarctica, which has been my new mission to like go where the penguins are and like start PyLadies in Antarctica. But there's also one in Boston too, so I would encourage you to check it out. And if you're not in Boston and you're not in the location where PyLadies is, you can bring it to your own, you can start it yourself. You can find everything on PyLadies.com. All right, so now, who has heard of PyLadies? Should be everyone. I'm hoping some people just need to wake up a little bit, maybe you're waiting for like lunch. That didn't raise their hand? Okay. Anyways, moving to the actual talk. I'll give like a quick intro to Spotify and how Spotify uses data. I'll also talk about how my team approached how we track data, how we implemented our metrics, and essentially what was learned along the way to give us sort of the big picture. What I basically want you to take away from this talk, data science is like super fun in its purest form as well as in applied form like metrics. However, if you measure like everything, it's very easy to get lost while you're measuring it, lost why you're measuring it. So some quick background information about Spotify. So if you don't know, streaming music service available in 58 countries. Beta launched in 2007 and came to the US in 2011. Last year we finished with 15 million paid subscribers and 60 million monthly active users. We have over 30 million unique songs, so that doesn't include like compilation albums and such. We also pay about 70 to 80% of our income to rights holders, which have totaled $2 billion to date, and just about 6 months ago that was $1 billion. And so while I work in a super small office in San Francisco with 5 other developers, our main office is in Stockholm and in New York. Includes analytics, data, machine learning, and basic engineering as well. We do actually have a small office up in Davis Square. We had acquired Econest maybe a year ago, so we're also up there too. So Spotify data is quite important, right? These numbers that you see, they're kind of, they're a few months old, they're not correct, not most up to date, but they give you a good frame of reference. So we track user data, like signups, logins, activity within the application itself, even tweets, the good, the bad, the ugly, right? We also track server-generated data, including requests to specific services, response times, response status codes, among like a million other things. Each squad within Spotify, they sort of own a feature or own sort of a portion of the product. And they own what they want to collect, how they want to collect it, and how they want to consume such data. We have analysts that run thousands of Hadoop queries, Hadoop jobs, every day to glean insights on user activity, answering questions like, how many paying subscribers do we have at this moment? Or was this partnership financially beneficial for us? We have data scientists and machine learning engineers analyzing listening behavior and trends that power the discovery, the browse, the radio functionality within the app itself. And then engineers in general behind the platform, watching usage rates of our web APIs, login failure rates, feature usage, sort of just scratching the surface of everything that we sort of pay attention to. We use various technologies, including Hadoop, as well as Cassandra, Postgres, and Elasticsearch. All the user-generated data sits in Hadoop with jobs run against it using like Java, Python, or even directly with Hive. I've even discovered we actually have an IPython notebook server, which I haven't played with yet, but I love IPython notebook and IPython, so I should do that someday soon. But for the backend side, some of our service activity, it gets parked in Elasticsearch, and we have like a Kibana set up to track metrics and stuff. But the majority of our service activity is handled by a homegrown system, because Spotify has a serious not invented here syndrome. So we built this homegrown system called Fast Forward, and it's actually open source in Ruby, so if you want to check it out, it's on GitHub under Spotify. With all this setup, with all this data, I'm super embarrassed to say that my team did a lot of development in the dark. We weren't tracking anything. We didn't know how successful our feature integrations were. We hadn't a clue if our backend services that we maintain, if they were up and running. We were just here through the grapevine, right? Like, this crap isn't working, fix it kind of thing. Oh, okay. So this is a story of self-discovery, how we became a better, more effective team. And we did this by capitalizing on understanding our own data. So not everyone can be data scientists, statisticians, econometricians, right? But everyone hopefully can grasp the importance of when 70% of the user base can't log in. So this is a practical story, a practical application of data science. So Spotify is very public with how it uses Agile in the software development process. If you actually go to YouTube and just search for Spotify and Agile, you'll find a couple of really well-done videos that I highly recommend watching if you're interested. But one key aspect of Agile is iteration. And we certainly iterate over our product, but we also iterate over ourselves, trying to find out what works best for us as a company and as a squad and everything in between. So late last year, my squad began participating in this internal program. It was called Effective Squad Circle, but its purpose was to hone in on the squad itself. There are monthly challenges to figure out where the team is today and where the team wanted to go. In terms of delivering product, feature, service that we're meant to, right? So the first challenge was finding our target condition. Where did we want it to be? And it's certainly difficult to establish a goal without a context, without understanding where we are now, right? So to figure out that baseline for ourselves, we sat down and answered a few questions. And the first question, kind of breaking down into the basics, is what do we deliver? It seemed an easy question, right? Yet, myself and the squad initially, I couldn't answer this right away. It certainly didn't really roll off the tongue. So we looked at our past and listed out our integration projects and the services that we currently maintain. It includes like Uber, the Uber integration that you might have seen, also Last.fm, Yahoo, SoundHound, Twitter, #music, among others. If you use any of those integrations, that was my team. And but the most critical that we maintain is the Facebook login and user registration. And as I hinted before, that's about 70% of our user base logging in via Facebook. So as a side note, if you don't use Spotify, and because of Facebook, you don't need Facebook to use Spotify. So if that was a holdup for you using Spotify, hopefully you know that you can just get registered with email, not Facebook. Anyways, so the next question, for whom do we produce said product or service? Who actually defines our work? At Spotify, we believe that leadership is meant to convey a vision, and the squad is meant to implement that vision in a manner that they choose. This isn't micromanagement. It's actually a lot of trust, a lot of autonomy, but our lead team defines the direction that the squad takes. So they're certainly one of our customers. Also, with the many integrations that we've done, we have a lot of external partners, Uber, Last.fm, etc. Thankfully, the tech squad, is shielded from direct communication, so that makes our business development team and indirectly our partners another customer of ours. And then, who actually depends on us, and who actually uses our work, or product, or service? So as I mentioned earlier, 70% of users log in with Facebook. So it's a pretty integral system to Spotify. So we certainly can't fuck it up when they change their login protocol. It should just work right. There's also a lot of internal teams that use the Facebook service system that we have for social aspects, like sharing directly from the app onto Facebook. So moving on, the next question is about expectations. What do our customers actually expect from us? When we're trying to answer this question, it occurred to us that we never really asked what their expectations were. So we did. We wanted to know what exactly was important to them on what we deliver. Was it on-time delivery? Predictable versus being productive? I don't know if that's mutually exclusive. Do they expect solutions to problems that they didn't know existed? Were there expectations on quality, on usability, or some other unmeasurable, not measurable, there you go. Were there expectations with how the squad worked? Did they want regular updates on progress? Did they want to be involved in the problem solving, etc.? And we couldn't ask all our customers these sorts of questions. I mean, one of our customers is 60 million users, right? And expectations would be different for various customers. Internal teams expected the Facebook service to be reliable and scalable. Business development wanted us to be clear on what was possible and feasible to implement and build. And it's safe to assume that our users just wanted to be able to log in with Facebook and have that work, right? So the last question is, did we actually meet those expectations? How do we know we've met them? This is where we sort of stop dead in our tracks. No, we didn't know if our system could hold the extra internal load, or if/when users can log in, or how many users have activated the Uber and Spotify integration, and of those, does the experience actually work for them? So, being people who have an affinity for tech and automation, we naturally implemented a technical solution. So, a feedback loop. A generic term that any team, not just tech, right, can use to understand how feedback is given. Our squad, one of the main feedback loops that we chose was dashboards, was metrics. We wanted those dashboards, those pretty visualizations, those graphs with using the latest technologies that will certainly be obsolete tomorrow, right? But in all seriousness, we wanted to an immediate visual of various metrics. But what exactly do we want to see? What were the questions that we want an answer to? And so, in line with the idiom, we just sort of threw spaghetti on the wall to see what sticks. We brainstormed for a while, trying to come up with any question that we could want to see the answer for. And some ideas include like sign up and offlow, like abandonment, or how many connected users there are to Facebook versus total users in that trend over time. Percent of users that sign up through Facebook per hour, day, or week, or we didn't even know what time frame is most appropriate. And then like Facebook-related errors. There's a lot of various errors that they give us. We also were interested in like daily active users by like a partner feature integration, and relatedly the registration, subscription rates, referrals from partner. Web API usage by partner who was using our API most or least. And also like squad-focused Twitter feed, like searching for Uber and Spotify, what's being complained about that neither partner might not notice or might not easily see. We wanted to know like outstanding like bugs, issues from other internal teams, like how many that were unanswered or not fixed. And we also were curious about request count by internal requesting system or service. Who was using our services? So this is just a sampling, but we grouped together similar metrics and questions into buckets. So one of the buckets was usage. So we wanted to know API and web API usage by partners. Another one was system health, was the service up and running. And the business performance like indicators, like referrals by partner. So these buckets will eventually be their own dashboard on the super awesome monitors that we have in our office. We also created a few processes based on these questions and metrics that I said earlier. One of the processes was we will regularly review the progress as a squad. So every retrospective, and we do a retrospective after each sprint to review how that sprint worked for us, how it went. We'll look at a couple of different metrics pertaining to squad performance, like how many bugs did we close in the past sprint. We'll also judge if this metric we'd like to, if we would like to continue seeing, if we can actively improve upon the number, like perhaps maybe only closed 2 bugs this sprint, but we had like a long like reaction time or acknowledgement time. It took us 2 days to acknowledge that a bug was filed. And then what, if any, new measurable items you'd like to see in the next retro. Another process is to have goal targets at the start of every new integration project. For example, we'll know we're successful with this integration if it brings us X amount of new users in the first 2 weeks. It's sort of true that this goal line can really only be established with some historical context, so our team has a lot of work ahead of us. But this will also be fed into the aforementioned retrospectives. And then last process, we came up with a few post-integration questions for our partners for business development folks to ask them. And these questions include understanding the team's responsiveness externally, how our Spotify developer tools are, and if their company goals were met. We may think that an integration was super successful, super awesome, but they may have some insight that we do not. So it's true that we've only been caring about these metrics and this data for the past few months. So it's certainly at the beginning for us, but it's allowing us to iterate and give a hard look at what we track and why. You can certainly track everything that moves, but will you get inundated? If you're counting each leaf on every branch of every damn tree in the forest, you'd certainly get like lost, right? So how do we tell what's important and what's noise? This goes back to understanding your customer's expectation, right? Essentially boils down to business value, some business speak for you. How do you maintain and improve upon business values for your service or product? How does counting every single Facebook connected user actually help us? So when thinking about implementing various metrics for our feedback loops, I came across questions that sort of helped me see the forest for the trees. So when creating a new metric, It's good to think about how do metrics map to business goals? How are you going to measure how many user acquisitions you get for a new feature? And then how do you prioritize different goals that you want to drive towards? What is most important? Does that mean you're going to neglect others, or are you going to allot some time by priority? And then how can we create some dashboards or metrics and dashboards that are actually actionable? What is the goal, and more importantly, how are you going to drive towards that goal? Now, when representing metrics, how do we correctly measure what we care about? At Spotify, we have so many different tools. We can visualize data with gauges, with counters, histograms, meters, timers. What is actually appropriate for what you want to measure? Now, consuming metrics. How often are you actually going to look at them, right? I kind of noticed that dashboards were never being looked at. Even though there's a huge big TV in our office, we kind of didn't really take time to look at them. So how do you make dashboards more visible, more in your face? And then when you think about that, perhaps there's some consideration for that setup. Do you actually want a big monitor in your office where visitors can see? Or maybe you're emailing a snapshot to every important team member. Is it just going to be auto-filtered and go to spam? Then iterating over your current metrics. So for the things that we didn't reach 100% of our goal line, that gap in between, we need to assess why there is a gap. And why does it exist? And is that even solvable, or do we even care? If you look at a dashboard, what actions are you actually going to take? Should you even create a dashboard if a goal or an alert isn't set up? Probably not. So then what about the unknowns? What is unknown? For instance, we know that there's an X amount of mobile users that have connected their accounts to Uber, but how many don't use it because the driver doesn't have the app set up, or the driver just isn't aware of the service, or that they use Android instead of iOS? We don't know. So how do you approach these known unknowns, and how comfortable are you with a certain percentage of unknowns? And is it even worth it to kind of think through these unknowns? These are certainly very important questions when you're wanting to assess what you measure and make sure that you can actually measure appropriately and not get lost. So bringing back to this slide, the ultimate goal is us answering these questions is to give us both a shortened decision-making cycle as well as being more informed, making more informed decisions, especially about strategy and about partnerships. It's super easy to get lost in the forest, right? It doesn't help that it's really fun. Set these up, all these dashboards look super awesome. But essentially, we're replacing current values in historical context in order to see patterns developing. So how long, on average, does it take for the team to implement a new integration? Do our customers or ourselves expect a shorter time turnaround? Or do we just want to give a somewhat accurate estimate about how long it takes to do a project? And I've noticed it's probably about 3 times the actual number that you give. And then the big win here with these feedback loops is these thoughtfully implemented metrics. Is we can use these goal lines and alerts to create a more efficient team. We deliver higher quality software. We get any feedback on any bugs that we introduce, any system that fails, etc. And so to answer this question, should you track everything that moves? Certainly some companies do. Etsy has been very public about measuring everything, but should you? Very anticlimactic answer, probably. Only if you can define a goal, only if you can thoughtfully think about the metric. You can define a goal, you can define an action if you haven't met the goal, and you can actually pay attention to it. So quite a short presentation. Wanted to get you out for lunch, but we have plenty of time for questions, but slides and the blog post are at this link. Thank you very much.